Gabby Franco.
Yes.
Appreciate you being here. We're actually here for an event for the DC project, and Gabby was kind enough to come up to New Jersey and talk to the men and women here who are here to support the DC project, which is a group of women that go to DC and meet with legislators,
Yes.
and discuss firearms rights.
And we not only go to DC, we also try to do it in our own states, because we recognize that while the federal government is important for us to go there and talk to them, it's also necessary to talk to them in our home and in our states. So, yes.
And it's great to have an organization of women who are going to the Capitol who aren't necessarily, and I know it's politics, but they're not necessarily going there on behalf of one political party or the other. They realize that this is a right that all Americans should be concerned about and interested in, and they meet with legislators on both sides of the aisle, and it's basically on a nonpartisan basis, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, and you're right. We are not into any political side, whether right, left, or whatever you want to call it. Our main goal is to protect the Constitution as it is. We understand that as the First Amendment, it's everyone's right, and the same thing is the Second Amendment and everything that is in the Bill of Rights. So the Second Amendment for us, and what it means to us, is that women particularly are one of the first one who will be easy prey for a criminal. And given that women the opportunity to protect themselves, to know that yes, you can be trained, you have the right to own firearms, to train yourself and find ways to protect yourself. But it's not only about women, it's also about men. I mean, this is a right that is for everybody, regardless of your ethnicity. I'm Hispanic, I'm from Venezuela, and we don't have that right in Venezuela. And as soon as I moved to the United States, I realized like how smart are these people here that they have a right to own and bear arms to protect themselves. I wish that was everywhere.
And how does it make you feel now, becoming an American and being in America and see these rights starting to get eroded away? It must be difficult.
Well, one thing I've learned in life is that there's always a constant battle. You know, through history. Think about history in general, since the times. They're powerful people always try to keep people defenseless, try to keep people, you know, how can I say that? It's like try to keep people harder for them to protect themselves, harder for them to fight against a government. And I lived that in Venezuela. In the United States, it's difficult for many Americans to even think something like that could happen. But reality is that no one is exempt.
Now, I work in New York City, and I do some firearms training for people that work in or live in the New York City area, and I find that a lot of my students are very apprehensive and cautious about looking to people in the firearms community for training or knowledge because they think it's, you know, all about the politics, and, you know, they're not on the right side of politics, so they're really not outspoken, or they're afraid to admit to people, you know, that they do own a firearm or want to get some training.
But I I will argue that most of it happens because of the environment that they're in.
I agree.
You know what I mean? When you live in a state like you say New York, there are so many restrictions. You are penalized in so many ways. And gun owners in general are portrayed by that government and by the media as, you know, you are evil people. You believe that is your reality. You believe that that's it. That is what gun owners are, or who gun owners are. But when you go to other parts of the country, let's say Texas,
it's just normal.
It's just normal.
Part of life.
And you understand that it's your responsibility. And I go home and I'm an army wife. And when my husband is away, I know I can protect myself. Whether he's traveling for other things, he doesn't deploy anymore, but even long hours working, I know I can protect my son and myself at home, no matter what. And that peace of mind, I have to say, is priceless. Because who is more interested about this life here and the life of my child and myself? You know, and that's the part I think people need to understand and open their minds into. It's your right anyway,
It's everybody's right.
right. And anyways, criminals or criminal acts are going to be penalized. You know, whether somebody who's good and made a big mistake, that person is going to be punished for their mistake if they break the law. So the laws exist. Why make it more harder for us, law-abiding citizens, to protect something so valuable and irreplaceable as our own lives?
And the frustration for me is seeing, you know, the work that the group does, the DC Project does, going down to DC. You know, it really shouldn't be about politics, and it shouldn't be about who's on what side of the aisle. I mean, this is a right. Everybody has this right. Everybody should enjoy the right. And I'm hoping we can get away from it being a political issue and get people from both sides of the aisle to step up and speak out and be proud of the right and be proud to speak out in favor of the right.
I think one of the beauty things about having rights is that you can choose whether you exercise the right or not. Years ago, I had a very good conversation with a teacher right after, you know, one of these terrible events happened. And I told her, right now, you may not be into firearms. You may think that firearms are not your tool for protection. But if tomorrow in your neighborhood, their house is being, you know, vandalized, what are you going to do? Who are you going to run to? Who are you going to scream? When those seconds matter, it's only you who are your first line of defense is the only person who should be the best equipped to protect yourself. So
exactly. So we appreciate you being here, especially New Jersey. Appreciate very much that you came out. We appreciate all the work that you and the DC Project does.
And I have to say, this matters so much to me that with the gas issues that we're having.
That's right, because you came from a state that's running low on gas.
Right, we were having so much issues that I was like, I want to get there, and I bought a train ticket, and here I am. Because again, this is a right, and it's a matter that involves all of us.
Well, again, Gabby, Franco, thank you very much for being here and speaking to the group. And I'm Matthew, the average gun owner. Thank you.